And number 5, where will the leadership come from? And this is one of the more interesting aspects of building a new team every year. Last year for Notre Dame, it was easy. It was the perfect, not easy. It was the perfect situation for Notre Dame in a difficult time. The easy part was identifying who the leaders were. That was the easy part. The hard part was relying on those leaders to get you through a really tumultuous offseason that unlike any we've ever seen. And Notre Dame had the key ingredients for that. You had Ian Book coming back as a third-year starting quarterback. You had Robert Hainsey as a two-time captain. You had Liam Eichenberg. You had a lot of veteran players that could step up and be leaders on offense. Well, they're all gone now. So who steps up and fills that void? I expect Jarrett Patterson to be one of those guys. He was considered the leader of the offensive line on the field. I think he has a lot of leadership characteristics, but he's not going to be full go. I think Kyron Williams is going to be an emotional leader this year. Is he able to then become more of a full-time leader? That remains to be seen. That's going to be part of his evolution as a player. Can Avery Davis have enough of a voice to be that? There's a lot of guys that could be that player, but it's not as natural of a succession to that leadership mantle as we saw in past years where, once Mike McGlinchey and Quentin Nelson left, it was easy. You had Alex Bars and Sam Mustipher. Once they left, it was easy. You had Robert Haynes, you had Liam Eichenberg. I don't know if there's as much of a natural pass off there. And then, of course, a quarterback, somebody's going to have to step up and lead, but that guy doesn't have to necessarily be a captain. So that void is going to have to be filled. And that a lot of times can be the key ingredient to being a good 10-2 team or a team that makes another run at the college football playoff. So the leadership aspect is an interesting one that a lot of teams go through this time of year, and it doesn't always shake out the way you think as a coach. Sometimes you think player A or B is going to really take hold as a leader, and it's just not natural for them. Sometimes they just don't say the right thing or do the right thing, or they just can't handle that. Other times it might affect their play. Sometimes it's just not in the guy's personality. Other times you don't think a certain player is going to step up, but then in workouts, in meetings, on the field, he's just constantly taking a leadership role because it comes natural to him. He sees the vacuum, he sees the void, and he fills it. And that's kind of the fun from a coaching standpoint of building teams in the offseason, is to see how that's going to shake out. You have to, as a coach, create opportunities for leadership to emerge. You put the team in tough situations, and it's not just the SWAT captains and things like that. There have to be opportunities where you create stressful situations, where you create challenging situations, and then you sit back and watch, okay, who steps up? Who handles this? Who handles that? And then from that, you start to see leadership emerge. And it has to happen in a lot of ways organically. You could try to force certain guys into it, and sometimes that'll happen. But sometimes you'll force guys into leadership roles that they're just not cut out for, and it doesn't work. You have to allow it to happen organically in a lot of ways. You create the environment, but then as far as who those leaders are is sort of the organic part of it. So that's kind of that final piece for me when I look at the questions about the Notre Dame offense heading into the spring. I'm confident that they have what it takes to answer all 5 questions, not just positively, but extremely well. I think this is a team that returns a lot of talent. I think this is a team that returns a lot of potential, a lot of depth. The question is will players that get an opportunity step up and seize that opportunity? And will the coaches make the necessary changes to kind of come up with the modern era? LSU was in that situation a couple of years ago. They made the changes, and the results were phenomenal. We've seen other programs make those changes, and it's panned out. Notre Dame has the talent to make those changes. If they have the willingness to do so, and they're stick to the convictions of doing so, then I think this could be a very fun, exciting, and explosive Notre Dame offense in 2021.